Hi guys. So the music this time should be a bit lower because I know people were having a bit of trouble listening to me last time, which is fine. Hopefully that we can get that sorted out. If I do this a little bit more, maybe that'll work. I don't know. I hope so. This is just me remixing. Okay, so I hope everyone's doing well. I'm just before I start today's GW story, I've realised that a lot of you are subbing, which is really nice. And the more people sub, the more I can start doing this like more proper full time. It's never going to be, I don't think, in my remit to do it full time. I'm always going to want to teach, you know. But I also think that maybe sometime in the future, if things start going really well, I could start doing these every day. Now, obviously, there is only a finite amount of GW stories that I have, but there are tons of gaming stories that I have that are from Warhammer 40,000 and Age of Sigmar, of my time working at GW and after working at GW and before working at GW. So I'll be sharing those too as we go on. I'm nowhere near running out of GW stories. I just thought, I'm very perceptive of the light at the end of the tunnel. So, one other thing I'd like to go over is if you're liking my content, if you're liking my stories, if I'm entertaining you in any way, if you want to buy me a beer, fair enough. Head over to Patreon. The link is in the description below. I'm not a guy who says, sub to the video, sub to the channel and like the video and all this sort of rubbish. That's up to you. You do that if you want. But if you feel like buying me a beer, man to man or woman to man or whatever, then head over there and buy me a beer if you want to. It's up to you. So today, I'm going to take a drink, a little bit of my drink here. I'll just walk back in 1 second. There we go. So today I wanted to go over the Retail Workshop. I want to discuss what it is, what it does, why Games Workshop do it, and my experiences therein. So it might be a bit of a longer video than people are really used to from me. We'll see. So the Retail Workshop is a get-together. It's not annual, it's sort of like a 1, 2 or 3 a year they do. Where they send out an email saying, hey, this is where the Retail Workshop is. It's at this really swanky hotel in Nottingham or wherever it is, normally Nottingham. And every single manager in the UK is invited to this Retail Workshop where you go and you talk to the management and you go and you do some training and you go and you have some fun, basically, and get very drunk on company money. So, I'm going to go through a few experiences that I had at the Retail Workshop. Not all of them were the same. And some of them are NSFW. Just putting that out there now. Right? I'm not going to hold anything back from you guys because a few of you have subbed to me on Patreon or have given me money on Patreon or have joined the channel or have even subbed to me, right? So I'm not going to hold anything back from you. Like what I experienced, you're going to get full on, full force. So, mind your ears if you're at work. If I go quiet, I'm taking a sip of my drink because I've got a sore throat at the moment. As if you're watching the Dragon Age Inquisition playthrough, you will know. Because I'm coughing every 5 minutes and it's ridiculous. So my first Retail Workshop, I never got to go to these when I was a staff member, obviously, because I wasn't part of the Brotherhood at that stage. But when the time came, I got an email through to my store saying, hey, here's the Retail Workshop. And I had a few people warning me about what to do and what to wear and things like that. And generally, I was seeing pictures of old Retail Workshops where people are in their own clothes, things like that, and I was thinking, okay, so you're basically just going in there and just hanging out, basically. It was pretty cool. All right, fair enough. And everyone I asked said, yeah, it's just a hangout, basically. You just go in there and you hang out with other managers, you talk to the higher-ups and things like that, which is fair enough, I quite liked it. Quite liked the idea of it. I saw pictures of my old manager at some of these things, and he was always, dressed in, his own clothes and chilling out and shit. And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. So we don't have to go in a suit or anything, or even in our work clothes. Brilliant. Okay. Now, I made the fateful mistake, and this was a fateful mistake, of not packing my GW clothes because I thought, how cringe. You know what I mean? I don't want to be the only guy turning up to this thing with my blues and twos on and getting the piss taken out of me. So I was like, okay, I know what it is. I've seen lots of pictures of it. Blah blah blah. Whatever. So I turn up on the Friday night, and I get very, very, very drunk. And I end up getting... so the first night we were there, this is the weird thing, the first night we were there, we were actually taken aside, so the new managers were all taken aside, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. We were taken aside by the head of marketing and the head of retail for GW. And they said, hey, you guys are going to have a meal with us. You guys are going to have a nice meal, and we're going to have a bottle of wine, and we're going to talk. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. All right, that's fine, cool. So we went over there, and we had a meal, and this is a very swanky hotel in Nottingham. It's very nice. And if you can imagine, we're in the downstairs bar, and we're on the left-hand side in our own little closed-off area having this meal, whereas all the other managers are all on the other sort throughout the bar getting pissed for free, essentially. So I'm sitting there, and we're all talking, and there's this one other manager there. I don't know if you guys have ever worked with a brown noser, right? But this fucking guy, everything the lead guys were saying, I'm just going to call them the top managers, right? So these are the head of retail, head of recruitment, you know, all these guys. Everything they would say, he was laughing at. And that's the most funny thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Do you know, he just really getting it, really getting in there. And the really shitty thing is that they were lapping it up. I was looking at them thinking, these guys seem quite cool. They're not gonna like that, because I wouldn't like that. I'd be like, mate, just fucking chill. You know, I'm not your route to your career success. You know what I mean? You got to show me that you're a decent person, and that's what gets you into being, you know, into the upper echelons of this company. But no, they were lapping it up. They were loving it. And I've never been a person who can fake it like that. I've never been that guy. I call a spade, essentially. So I was marking this guy's card already. I was like, yeah, me and him are not going to get along, you know. And yeah, it's just one of those things. I never try to be like that with people. I always try to be open and honest and like, hey, maybe my first impression wasn't the right one. You could just tell with this guy. You could just tell this is this is going to be some bullshit here. This is going to be an annoyance. So the meal goes on, and I start talking to an Italian guy who is the head of recruitment, or one of the heads of recruitment anyway. One of them head muckamucks, and he's a super nice guy. You know, really funny. Talks about himself a lot, and I got that a lot from the management. And I realised I was talking to middle management when they were talking about themselves and telling you about their careers like they're celebrities or something. And then they never ask you anything about yourself. Like, literally, they're not interested. They don't care. They just want to tell you their life story. This is their life. And they sit there and they talk and they give you the spiel about what they're doing with their lives and how they got to where they are. And they kept talking like they'd made it. These guys. They kept talking like, oh, and now I'm here, and you know, this is my final form, sort of a thing. It's like, dude, you're middle management at a not very big corporation. The Games Workshop, on the grand scale of things, is not very big, right? I just couldn't, and I couldn't keep that from my face. Like I wasn't sitting there like bemused looking at them, but I was like, yeah, nodding along. But I wasn't biting. I wasn't asking them loads of questions because I didn't have to. They were telling me. And I was like, okay, yeah. When I'm in a conversation like that, it doesn't matter who you are. If you just tell me about yourself for like 20 minutes and you don't ask me a single question about me, I just back off. I'm like, okay, you want to talk? Go on then. You know, and that's just what I did. And we had a nice meal, and, you know, I went back to my friend from another store that I'd met. I met him earlier that day, actually. We were just chilling out, and we ended up having lots of beer, getting absolutely rat-arsed. And one thing I forgot to tell you was just after 8 had come out. So when we went to our rooms to obviously we checked in and went to our rooms. You got there as and when. You could even get there on Saturday if you really wanted to. But I went there on the Friday night. I opened the door to my room, and there was a box on the bed. It's in November. In fact, the reason why I want to do this video now is because the retail workshop will be going on around about now, as in one of these weekends in early November. Because what you do is you discuss what your plans are for Christmas and how you're going to get your store ready for Christmas and how you're going to get it all, you know. So there's a box on the bed, And I was like, oh, pretty cool, oh, awesome. And I opened it, and there was a free Dark Imperium box set in there, right? Now that impressed me. I was like, this is cool. There was a T-shirt. There was a Warhammer 40k keychain with the logo on it, and there was a bag like a holdover bag with the 40k symbol on it, and there were 6 beers in there. There were 6 bottles of Peroni in there. And I was like, this is the shit. Like, this company's the best. You know, I was like, this is fucking awesome. This is what I mean. It's so bloody polar. Like, there, and I honestly think there is this cadre of people at Games Workshop who are ultimately cool. Just the absolute coolest people. And they're the ones who come up with these ideas, these little touches, just to, hey, we know you go through a lot for us, so, you know. And then you get the other side of the guys who I'm having a meal with, who seem to think that this is now their time to preach to me about how great they are. You know, it just doesn't compute to me. Anyway, the next morning I get up. This is my first retail workshop, by the way. The next morning I get up and I'm walking around and I'm noticing there's a lot of other people in Games Workshop clothes. And I'm like, that seems a bit off. That's not what we were told. Okay, that's a bit weird. And my trainer comes up to me and goes, where's your T-shirt? I'm like, you never told me I was supposed to have one. In fact, the actual email says casual. It says it right there. It says you wear casual. He said, yeah, casual with your T-shirt. Well, why didn't send the fucking email then? You know what I mean? And he had a bit of an attitude at me. I don't know whether he was stressed about something else. So I came back and was like, well, why is it in the email then? I had all my stuff there with me. I had the email literally printed out. So I needed to know where to go and who to speak to. He said, oh, okay, I'll go source one out for you. Okay, fine. Okay, thank you. You know, whatever. So I sit down and I'm talking to a bunch of other managers and I'm just like, you know, yeah, fine, whatever. He comes in and he chucks this T-shirt at me. I'm like, cheers, thank you. And he said, well, put it on then. And I said, okay, yeah, cool. And I said to the lads who I'm talking to again, I'm just going to go and, you know, put this on and blah, blah. I'll be back in a minute. And he said, no, put it on now. And I was like, dude, I looked at him. And do you know when the other person just realizes that they've just a little bit of overstepped the mark there. You know what I mean? They just realize, oh shit, this guy could literally rip my ears off and shove them down my throat. I just looked at him very quietly. I just didn't say anything for a couple of seconds. And then put the T-shirt on over my normal clothes. You know, and I was like, cool. And he left. And I swear that was the moment. I swear that was the moment that my relationship with him was done. That was it. Because in previous stories we've gone over him. He was really nice to me on the first day and things like that. Just that one moment seemed to sour me to him, and vice versa. Actually, to be fair, probably more the other way around. But really did seem to sour his relationship and what he wanted to do with me. You know, and what he felt about who I was. Which is terrifying in itself, because that's psychotic behaviour. You know, as far as I'm concerned, he's in the wrong in that situation, and I forgot about it. I was like, no, do you know what? It's all cool. You know, maybe he was stressed that morning. He never forgot about it. From that moment on, he was so different with me. And it just went from there. So, the rest of the retail workshop, I'm just going to take another sip of my drink here. Right, the rest of the retail workshop, I don't know whether you've been to useless corporate training, but it was essentially that. Games Workshop is no different. You're sitting in a room, how are you guys going to set up your stores for Christmas? And you're like, well, I think I'll have a display up. Yes, that's a good idea, yes. I'm gonna, have... Oh, fucking hell. I've got a big, massive Primaris Space Marine cut out. I'm gonna maybe address him as Father Christmas. Oh, that's a lovely idea, yes. And this goes on for fucking hours. Goes on for hours. Things that you could know by writing down notes for 10 minutes. You know, hours were going on. Anyway. So the NSFW part of the conversation. So, again, this is why I name no names. And this is why I very much appreciate it. If you do know my actual name, please don't use it. Not that anyone knows this at Games Workshop, and no one will be able to narrow this down either. But yeah, well, my throat's gone again. One sec. Sorry, I didn't mean to keep you in suspense. So I met a lady, another manager at the time. I was single at the time, and I met another lady who was a manager working there. I assume you see where this is going. And we are at the bar downstairs. We're getting smashed, and it turns out that we can't use the tokens anymore because we're given tokens as drink tokens, because some idiot managers from the night before were seeing nice looking women and giving them these tokens, simping for them essentially, without realizing they're actually underage. Yeah, so that was the rumor going around at the time. But rumors among like tight knit groups like that normally there's a hint of truth in there. So I was a bit pissed with that, but we used up all of our vouchers, and I just paid for some stuff on my card, and then blah blah. And one thing leads to another. We go upstairs to hold a private conference on how we're going to make our stores look over Christmas. And it turns out that our meeting was quite loud, because the guy next door to us on either side, when we were having this meeting, cornered us the next day as we were leaving. We were done. So this is the Sunday morning. We're going to do one last bit of training, and then we're going to leave. Cornered us, and essentially one of the managers got into a big old argument with the girl, saying this is completely inappropriate. You're supposed to be representing this company. Blah blah blah. To which I said, listen, it's not really any of your business, is it? We're in our room. We're not disturbing anyone. Maybe you heard a few things moving around in the night as we were discussing, how we were gonna. Well, actually, we were doing like diagrams of how we were gonna move the furniture around in the store and things like that. Maybe obviously I didn't say that, but I did say it's none of your business. Like if you wanted things to be quieter, knock on the door and just tell us, and it would not have been an issue. Anyway, I leave the retail workshop and I get back to my store. And the next Tuesday, I have a training day. So this is basically a training morning where they make you come in several hours earlier than you're supposed to be at your store, so your trainer can come in and talk to you. And my trainer sat me down, and I was not expecting this at all. Basically, just talked to me like a fucking school child. Basically said. He was doing things. Do you know that things that adults do when you're a kid, when they say, this is what you did. What might have been better to do? Okay, yes, that and they make you. You know what I mean? That sort of a power trip, and I wasn't having it. I was just sitting there going, dude, what is this? Like, well, what are you doing? Like. So well, I just think that I've gone and got you a T-shirt. At least you can do a show a bit of appreciation. I was like, I said thank you, in a nice way, right? You then shouted at me. And I looked at you. If that's how how do I put it, fragile you are, then how are you surviving in the world? Like how are you walking? How did you get here this morning? Like, did they roll you in cotton wool and then just roll you here? Like, I don't understand. And we got into it. We had this argument, and he then said, oh, and apparently there was inappropriate behaviour on the third floor, where you were, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, and I laid it out for him. I said, look, I met a girl that I really liked, that I'm now actually, I went on a date with her on a Monday night, so that I'm now actually kind of seeing, so, yeah. And yeah, we went into the room, and what happened in that room is nobody else's business. I'm sorry. Like, it literally isn't anybody else's business. It's not yours. It's not Games Workshop's, right? In fact, it's not even the other managers on that floor, but it's nobody's business. Once that door's closed, go fuck yourself. Once that door's closed, go and fuck yourself. Like that, like, it's not got nothing to do with you. And if the bridges were not already burned, that was it. It was over. Like that was it. He never saw me in the same light again. He every single time we went out, he then, because he would come to the store, and he'd want to go out for a pint after work. I'm like, mate, you've been here all day doing nothing but critiquing how I manage the store, so I'm really stressed, I'm really tired, and now you want to go out drinking. And I went, because I value my job. I went, And I made sure he had a good time, but it was like I was a fluffer of some sort. It was like he was some sort of corporate guy coming to Las Vegas, and I've got to. I'm the Fredo. I'm the Fredo. I've got to go out and show him a good time. Like, I was so tired of it. Obviously, he never saw that, because I would sort of forget about it after a while and just have a good time and have a few pints. But fuck me, if the next day you didn't feel like going to work, do you know what I mean? Like, you were hungover as shit, and he's just sitting there in his hotel room doing fuck all for the rest of the day, and now I've got to get up at crack a sparrow's fart in the morning to go and open up this store. And that was my first retail workshop, and whenever we went for drinks after that, if he wanted to go out, he would always, always only talk about himself. He would talk about himself, GW, stuff, things like that. And he would also tell me, he did tell me a few stories about GW in the past, which I will relate to you guys eventually. They involve strip clubs and all sort of, some really funny things that have gone on over the years. So, I think that's it for the first retail workshop. I don't know, shall I go into another one? Or shall I not? Shall I not? Right, yeah. So the other bust up with this guy, I'll do this one last one. The other bust up with this guy, we'd been civil for like a year at this point. We'd been civil. We'd been alright, just getting on with it. They couldn't sack me, the store was doing very well, so that, it was one of those, you just live and let live at the moment. There was a retail workshop coming up, and the girl that I was seeing at the time, not the manager, another girl that I was seeing at the time, said, oh my god, I have a workshop. It's not a retail workshop, but I have a training, right, for my job, because she was a banker. Well, she worked with bankers, anyway, but she worked in that sphere. There is a cryptocurrency workshop. We're going to go up there in Nottingham. I was like, cool, awesome, right, go on then. Do you know what? I'll meet you in Nottingham. Because I've got a retail workshop this weekend. So how about you do it that weekend? Okay, yeah, cool. So she did it that weekend. Because she was like one of the people taking it. And so, I get to the hotel and I'm chilling out, all the managers there, and she's like, well, where should I meet you? And I was like, well, I'm in the hotel, I can get free drinks here, so how about we have a few drinks here, and then we'll move on somewhere else. We can do that. She says, okay, yeah, fair enough. So she comes in, we have a few free drinks, and we're getting ready to go. And this guy comes over and says, can I have a word? And I'm like, yeah. And I already knew what it was. Like Games Workshop was so fucking cliquey at the middle management level that anyone who's not one of them, the wives and girlfriends or kids or anything like that, they just couldn't handle it. Because these are not normal people. Most of the people working in middle management Games Workshop are psychotic nerds. They can't handle people who are on in the club. And he was just like, very loudly, so she can hear, he says, what's she doing here? Because they'd met before. Because she'd come round to the store. And I was like, we're about to go out. Jeremy, we're about to go out. He's like, well, she shouldn't be here. You should have asked permission, blah, blah. Give me all these things, And I was like, what else could I say? I was like, I didn't realise. Sorry about that. But we're leaving now anyway, so... He said, right, is she staying here tonight? I was like, okay, we've been over this before. None of your fucking business. Right? I just snapped. And this is in a previous video as well. Like, we've been over this before. Not your business. Not Games Workshop's business. Not anybody's business, but mine. We've been over this. He said, well, if she is staying, get this. If she is staying, you need to pay for another room. And I was like, why? He said, well, Games Workshop paid for that room, so you need to get another room for her, even if she's staying in your room. And I was like, do you know what? 1 second. Because he said, you can't have anyone in your... Look, you can't. We've booked that room just for you, blah, blah, whatever. I'm like, okay, 1 second. Now, the front desk isn't that far away. We're talking about 20, 30 feet. I walk over there, around the corner, to the receptionist. Hello. My girlfriend is in Nottingham. Is she okay to stay in the room that I'm in? I'm with Games Workshop. She can see that I'm with Games Workshop. And she looks at me like I've just sat on her desk and goes, yeah, it's your room. I turn around and look at the trainer and go, So is it one rule for Games Workshop and one rule for the hotel, or are we just going on the hotel because it's their premises? Because I wasn't having it. I was just fucking... I was done. Like, I was just done. Anyway, and that was it. Then that was it. He never spoke to me again. You know, and, you know... I'm remembering all these fucking vivid details. I did a video on this back in the day, and I could remember nothing because it was too clear near the time, and I think I was just blocking out things that I didn't want to fucking remember. But now I've had years, like I'm sitting here thinking about it now, going, "What a fucking douche!" You know what I mean? Like I'm actually thinking about it. But yeah, so those are my retail workshop stories and my trainer stories. Again, if you like the video, do whatever. If you want to buy me a pint for the 25 minutes or so of mild entertainment I've given you, then head over to Patreon, do whatever. I will be on towards the weekend now, because my busy days are Thursday and Friday. So I'll probably be on Friday night, or maybe even Saturday. We'll see. But I'll speak to you then. Have a really good week, guys. I'll speak to you later on. See you later.